Tonight is a community service of the New York Institute of Technology.
Covering the news of Nassau and Suffolk Counties, Long Island News Tonight with Ken Eckhart, Carol Peck, and the award-winning LI News team.
Good evening. I'm Ken Eckhart, and here's what's happening. Fire officials say a Long Island couple was killed in an early morning house fire in Massapequa. Nassau County fire officials identified them as the sister and brother-in-law of the homeowner. They both lived in a garage apartment attached to the house. Newsday says the 56-year-old owner suffered second-degree burns to his face and arms and hands trying to rescue the couple. The dead couple have been identified as 54-year-old Gary Munch and 51-year-old Tony Munch. Two firefighters suffered minor injuries. The cause of the fire is under investigation, and the home's two smoke detectors reportedly weren't working. A Long Island man has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for a series of attacks on Hispanic men. The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office says 20-year-old Sean Allen of Middle Island pleaded guilty last month to the robberies of 9 men, all Hispanic except for one of Middle Eastern descent. Sean, working with an accomplice, would wait in a car near delicatessens frequented by Hispanics, then confront and rob the victims. The attacks took place in Selden, Centereach, Terryville, and Port Jefferson. A co-defendant, 32-year-old Sammy Darby Jr. of Mastic Beach, who participated in one of the robberies, will be sentenced to 5 years in prison. A Suffolk County man has been charged with robbing a West Babylon bank, wearing what appeared to be an explosive device strapped to his body. The device turned out to be a simulated device that was discarded outside the bank during the escape. Police say 59-year-old William Laughlin of West Babylon has been charged in connection with 4 bank robberies in all over a 2-month span last year. Laughlin was arrested in September for a robbery in Nassau County and has now been charged with the Suffolk County robberies as well. Well, it's St. Patrick's Day, and if you were out and about today celebrating, you may have seen some Irish step dancing. And as Tanya Carvalho reports, dancers spend long hours perfecting the intricate steps that go into this time-honored Irish tradition.
The tradition of Irish step dancing lives on at the Hagan School of Irish Dance in Long Beach, one step at a time. And in celebration of St. Patrick's Day, these dancers are performing the treble reel, known for its rhythmic sound. Director of the school, Jean Duffy, says they're taking this long-standing tradition beyond borders, competing both nationally and internationally, including Ireland.
So, yeah, they train hard. They train often, 5 to 6 days a week. And this is like their second home studio, but they're very disciplined and very committed to this art form, and we love it, and I love it.
And their hard work has paid off. Some of the dancers are world medal holders, like 11-year-old Sean Crosby, who says Irish dancing has been performed by members of his family for generations.
When I was 3, I would used to be, like, used to have like family reunions, and my grandmother from Ireland would used to come over, and we would dance in the kitchen. So my mom saw this ad in the paper, and she's like, oh, I'll sign you up, and it just stuck for 8 years.
Unlike what most people think, you don't have to be Irish to take part in this traditional step dancing. And with me today, I have a couple of the dancers that are about to show me how to jig for the very first time. Let's see how I do. Ready? All right, I tried. Clearly, I'm not as good as them. In Long Beach, Tanya Carvalho, LI News Tonight.
Well, after several down days, the Wall Street finally finished up today. The Dow was up 161.25 points. NASDAQ was up 19.25 points. And the S&P was up almost 17 points. NYIT's LI News Tonight continues after this.
see a screening of the film The Red Shoes at New York Institute of Technology's G. Seversky Center in Old Westbury on Wednesday, March 16th at 5:30 p.m. For more information, call 516-686-7567. Celebrate St. Patrick's Day at the Ward Melville Heritage Organization in Stony Brook on Wednesday, March 16th at 5:30 p.m. For more information, call 631-689-5888. Spend a day at the beach planting seagrass to help stabilize the dunes at Tobay Beach in Massapequa on Saturday, March 19th at 10 a.m. For more information, call 516-677-5748 or learn how to use Google Earth to research your family history at Brentwood Public Library on Saturday, March 19th at 10 a.m. For more information, call 631-273-7883. If you have an event you'd like included on the LI News Tonight community calendar, send it to linewstonight@nyit.edu.
Press play to start your future. Learn the industry. Use the technology. Become an expert in television reporting, journalism, radio, digital film, public relations and advertising, television production, digital graphics, a beautiful state-of-the-art campus, a road to the job you've always wanted, in the media capital of the world. Communication Arts at NYIT. When can you start?
Some headlines around the world today. The United States has authorized the first evacuations of Americans out of Japan amid the deepening nuclear crisis. And the State Department is warning Americans to put off all non-essential travel to any part of Japan because unpredictable weather and wind conditions risked spreading radioactive contamination. Meanwhile, Japan is trying to get water onto the damaged reactor by using helicopters and military vehicles. But because of concerns that much of the water is dissipating in the wind, the effort has been paused while officials evaluate its effectiveness. Military vehicles designed to put out fires at plane crashes are allowing workers to get water into the damaged unit while staying a safe distance away. South Korea has rebuffed North Korea's offer to participate in stalled nuclear disarmament talks and discuss its uranium enrichment program. North Korea said earlier this week that it told a Russian envoy it is willing to return to the disarmament talks and discuss a uranium enrichment program. But the South Korean foreign minister told reporters today that the offer is not sufficient enough to resume the nuclear talks. South Korea says the North must show its disarmament commitment through action, not words. Pyongyang pulled out of the talks about 2 years ago, and in November, it revealed a uranium enrichment facility that could give it another way to make atomic bombs. And in addition to sending a letter to Iran's supreme leader seeking the release of 2 American hikers, Muhammad Ali's wife says the boxing champ is willing to go there to help make it happen. But she says the visit would depend on her husband's health. Parkinson's disease has limited Muhammad Ali's speech and physical activity. Arguably the most prominent U.S. Muslim, Muhammad Ali made a behind-the-scenes appeal to Iran last month and released his letter to the press yesterday. The letter asks for the release of the 2 hikers held on espionage charges since 2009, when they were arrested while hiking in northern Iraq near the Iranian border. A 3rd hiker was released on bail in September. A common cold is something that almost all of us can get sometime in our lives. But there are other diseases that are so rare that only a few dozen people in the entire world ever get it. And when a disease is that rare, it's often hard to get the funding necessary to research a cure, as Adrienne Lasovic reports.
9-year-old Taylor Ryan of East Islip suffers from histiocytosis, and if you've never heard of that disease, you're not alone. Most people haven't, because it's considered one of the country's rare diseases. But Taylor's mom says that shouldn't mean it's ignored.
It's so frustrating because there's not a lot out there, And just because the disease is rare doesn't mean that the people affected with it don't matter.
But I think it's fair to say is a rare disease is a disease that's not on anybody's radar, and that research and advances in clinical care in those diseases are inhibited by a lack of interest.
A rare disease is defined as one that affects fewer than 200,000 people in the United States, and a worldwide initiative is trying to bring greater awareness to these rare diseases so they get the research funding they deserve. Taylor's mother says she thinks if some political figure or celebrity suffered from a rare disease, things would be different.
I really feel that if one of them were affected by a rare disease and they saw what these kids went through, then it would be a big difference.
Histiocytosis affects a person's immune cells. For Taylor, it led to diabetes.
Because histiocytosis is such a rare disease, it goes vastly unrecognized by the general public. But there are ways that we can bring awareness to this disease.
Just tell someone about it. That's, look it up. Google it. I mean, people are on the computer all the time. Google rare diseases and see what pops up. That's the best way to learn. The internet is a blessing but a curse at the same time,
Any encouragement or anything that you would like to say to the kids that are going through the same thing that you are?
Always smile.
In New Hyde Park, Adrienne Lazvik, LI News Tonight.
Diet Coke has topped rival Pepsi Cola for the first time to become the second most popular soft drink in the country, behind Coca-Cola. It marks a victory for Coca-Cola Company as its sodas now hold the top 2 rankings, beating out its rival PepsiCo Inc. A study by Beverage Digest released today found that Coca-Cola sold nearly 927 million cases of the diet soda in 2010. PepsiCo sold roughly 892 million cases of Pepsi. Even so, sales of soft drinks in the U.S. have fallen for 6 straight years as consumers cut back on spending and switch to healthier alternatives. While both Diet Coke and Pepsi's sold less soda, Pepsi's sales fell more. Gambling addiction workers say the fatal crash of a bus heading from a Connecticut casino to New York's Chinatown is drawing attention to how casinos aggressively seek Chinese American gamblers. It's estimated about 30,000 Chinese New Yorkers per week board discount buses that take them from Chinatown to casinos. One gambling addiction worker says Chinese children grow up seeing some form of gambling as part of everyday ritual, adding that there's no other population that is exclusively targeted by the gambling industry like the Chinese. It's reported the Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut estimates a fifth of its business comes from ethnic Asian clients. A Long Island man has been arrested after stealing a roll of coaxial cable from an MTA lot. Detectives say early Saturday morning, a police sergeant near Quentin Roosevelt Boulevard in East Garden City saw 55-year-old Bernard Jenkins of Elmont walking with the roll of cable. He says he then dropped the cable and ran off. The sergeant ran after him and he was placed under arrest. Police say Jenkins used a hacksaw to remove the cable from the nearby MTA lot. Well, we had a mostly sunny, beautiful day today. The high was up into the low 60s. Tonight should be partly cloudy with a low in the upper 40s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, but a high up near 70 degrees. Saturday, a chance of showers, a high in the mid-40s. Sunday, the sun returns with a high up near 50 degrees. And the outlook for Monday, chance of showers with a high around 50. And that's it for NYIT's LI News Tonight. I'm Ken Eckhart. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.